Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Resurrected Between Two Pints. I'm your host, Rob, and with me today is Nathaniel Fast.
Hello.
I brought you on today to interrogate you about your video essays.
Oh, I'm so stoked. I actually am.
Stoked with a stout.
Mm,
Oh, yeah, we should do that.
exactly. It's fantastic. I love this. I've never had this before.
Yeah, we're drinking the Guinness. We're drinking the Guinness Coffee Stout today. From our special sponsor, the liquor store across the road that I ran over to while you're waiting outside. So, Nathaniel, we actually met. I don't know when we met exactly, but I know you helped me out on a short film 2 years ago.
Yes.
The Odyssey. And
Yeah.
that's actually I'm wrapping up production on that hopefully this month. So
That was great. It was such a fun shoot. I loved it.
Yeah, it was great. We shot in the woods next to a SkyTrain station, so we get to pause like kids playing hockey in the road.
That's right.
It's like car, train, and then we pause.
The classic Vancouver city. It's always the SkyTrain.
Yeah.
You can never escape it.
So I brought you on today because I actually saw you have a YouTube channel and you do video essays now.
Yes.
And your latest video essay kind of went nuts because it's about something near and dear to me is physical media.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I've actually I think I bought a book on Amazon Prime that then it was like taken away or canceled and then like it just vanished and like, oh, we refunded your $2 and it's like, yeah, but dude, that's my book.
Exactly. You wanted the thing. Yeah.
So yeah, can you tell us a little like about the video essay, the newest one?
The newest one. Yeah. So like, because yeah, same as what you were saying is that like I love physical media, like movies, especially movies, but obviously books and music as well. Like I'm still one of those people that buy CDs as well. I don't do the vinyl thing. I haven't done that yet, but I still do that as well. But it's just like, I mean, to sum up the video is basically just like, I think with physical media and like the streaming wars, of course we like, you actually own it when you have it on physical forever, essentially. Like people talk about disc rot, but I feel like if you actually take care of the thing, you know, it doesn't really do anything. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I've never actually experienced that.
Yeah.
And I have DVDs from like 20, 30 years ago. Almost.
Exactly. Same here. And people always talk about, oh, you're going to have disc rot in like 20 years. And I'm like, I have DVDs from like when DVD started and they're still fine.
Yeah.
So I think it's just about taking care of them, which isn't hard. But yeah, and then it's just like, as I say in my video essay, it's just like with streaming, with all the like everybody and their grandmother having a streaming service now, it's hard to find every single movie you want to watch on one service, even sometimes even two services, if not three. So it's like you have to constantly be looking around for it. And of course, there's piracy, which I feel like we're really going back into that because, of course, there was a bit of piracy before streaming. But then when streaming came around and it was very affordable, $8 for one service that had pretty much everything, Netflix.
Laziness always wins out.
Exactly. So, and it's like for $8, hey, I won't do piracy for $8 a month. Why not? So, but now Netflix is like $15, and I think that's not even in 4K. I think that's just like in 1080p. I think 4K is like about $20 a month, something ridiculous like that. And then you have all the other streaming services and you can't do password sharing anymore. So it just becomes like cable essentially. And there even is cable packages for streaming services.
Yeah, where you pay like $45 and get three streaming packages.
So it's just streaming or it's just cable now. So it's just like, yeah. And so with renting as well, it's like, because sometimes on services that will allow you to rent a movie, sometimes they'll only have the option to buy it and not rent it. So it's like, well, I'm not going to pay $30 for a movie if don't know if I'm going to like it or not. I would gladly pay the $5 potentially, but I'm not going to pay $30 to have it on my computer till the end of time if I don't like it. So having physical, it's just like, it's both like a pretty shelf decoration as well. And you can organize it any way you want, but then it's also, you just get to keep it forever and it's the highest quality possible. And then again, with streaming services, sometimes they take those movies off because, or edit them because of course times change, culture changes. And so like, I do agree that like, I think it's good to have those, as I say in the video essay, that I think it's good to have those conversations about some of those culture changes, but I don't know if it's the right idea to completely remove it.
No, I feel like those are teaching moments too, where it's like, hey, you know, people used to think this horrible thing. So if you hear people like talk about that, that's not right.
Yes, exactly. Because what's the famous saying? It's just like the more, I mean, I'm really butchering that, but it's like the more you like destroy history, the more you like doomed to repeat it.
Yep.
So it's like, yeah, if we keep getting rid of the like controversial things, then we don't like future generations won't fully know, oh, what was bad. And it's just like, how, like, are we just going to repeat it if it's just out of our way? So I think that's, yeah. So I know that especially during like COVID and like and stuff like that, there was so many movies that were re-edited and so many TV shows that episodes are gone off of streaming services because it's just not culturally appropriate now. So, which, yeah, I agree. It's bad. I do agree, but I don't think it's a good idea to fully remove it. So, yeah, again, with streaming or physical, you get to just keep it forever. It's yours until maybe they decide to make another physical media version of it and it's not there, I guess. But at least you'll have the original forever. So,
Well, and one thing that I used to, and man, I regret losing this, but I'm pretty sure I lost it in a breakup. I used to have the Lord of the Rings extended editions on DVD,
yes.
and a long time ago, with an ex-partner of mine, we made a fantasy series called Standard Action.
Right.
And while I was editing that, I would always have a second screen on, and I'd be like, I just watched through every single commentary on every one of the DVDs from the cast, the different crews, the directors, and like that was so much value for like, $20 a DVD in the sale bin.
I know.
And not having those anymore and not really being able to easily get those.
Yeah.
That's heartbreaking. And also that's actually like we were talking about before we rolled the cameras, but like, Netflix being like, hey guys, $8 a month. It's like we're struggling here. Like, because like they don't have ads. So and ads is huge revenue. Hey, like we're gonna charge you $20 a month, but we've introduced all of the commentaries because it's just an audio file. It is literally just an audio file.
It'd be what, 500 megabytes, if not less?
Like, it's sure, to do all of it, it's going to be at a cost, but it's like the amount, it makes everything more rewatchable. Like,
absolutely.
Like, I used to watch all the Stargate series as DVDs, and I made another podcast with my friend called Life in the Circus. We got Peter DeLuise on.
Sure.
And like, I have listened to that man talk about directing Stargate for hours and hours and hours.
Totally.
And you mentioned there's one service actually that has that. Can you like,
yes.
So
absolutely. It's so, as I talked about with like password sharing, I basically paid for absolutely no streaming services in my life except for this one. Otherwise I was bumming off my parents or siblings. And this one is called the Criterion Channel, which is run by the Criterion Collection, which I think they've been running ever since like the 1980s. And I think they started with like laser discs, I think is what they started with. But they basically just like try to restore movies and make sure that they try not to go into like the public domain. And they just like really like to restore these movies to the best quality possible. And a lot of the times they'll have amazing, like they'll have director's commentaries. And if they're like, movies from the 1920s, of course, the directors won't be around anymore. So they'll have like a historian or somebody like that will talk in the commentaries. But yes, with the Criterion Collection or the Criterion Channel, they have all the bonus features that are available on the DVD or Blu-ray that they themselves have published. Because I know that there are sometimes on the Criterion Channel, they just get the rights to put some movies on for a month that aren't in the Criterion Collection. But everything that I'm aware of that's in the Criterion Collection that gets put on the service, you'll have all the bonus features that are available on the DVDs, which is unheard of for other streaming services.
I've never seen that on any other streaming service. And it's always baffled me because like when you start seeing that they're like, oh, well, you can watch this in Cantonese, you can watch this in, French or like all these other languages. Like, okay, so I know that they're putting up other audio files. It's like the infrastructure is there.
Right.
And I think there's also, even now, you can get like the audio description of what's going on for hard of hearing people. So like, they have everything, but the stuff that as like a filmmaker, that's what I've loved is like what really, grew my passion is listening to these people talk about the struggles.
Absolutely. Like it literally is like $20 or less film school in like the span of 2 hours or less, essentially, except for Lord of the Rings, it's like 4 hours per movie. So, but
then there's multiple.
Yes. Yeah. There's like 4 commentaries, I think, on each of those.
Yeah.
So, and it's like, they're all valuable. Like it's none of it's wasted time. I mean, it's funny though, when like the cast just like randomly joke around about things, but of course it's like, but they just get back on track. And the Lord of the Rings ones are probably the best film commentaries I've ever heard.
Yeah.
There are some really good ones.
Because they've got the cast, they've got Peter Jackson, and then I think there's other groups.
I think they had like the production designers as well.
Yeah. Which
like, what's his face? Richard Taylor from Weta. I think he has got a commentary with like a couple of other.
Makes sense. There's a lot of effects in that movie that hold up. So, okay, Lord of the Rings. And I mentioned the Stargate one. Is there any other ones you think that are really great value? If someone's at like Value Village or the thrift shop, what are great DVD values?
Wow. So I remember growing up that because I grew up a lot with watching bonus features as a kid and stuff. And so Oddly enough, these movies that had amazing bonus features that I remember and that just had great value was like the Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy. They had like extensive bonus features, and also the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
Those ones also had amazing bonus features on all three movies.
That was like the era where
Yeah.
it was like they were really jam packing those DVDs
Yes.
in, and it's really faded away. I think I've seen
Yeah.
like Blu-rays and stuff that have nothing on them.
hmm Yeah, like I think there's like a few like because I will like any movie that I buy are always going to be movies that I find great and like that I would just like to own forever. And it's like it seems like yeah, in more recent years you have movies or Blu-ray that have little to no bonus features, like none. Like I think oh, what's one like the French Dispatch by Wes Anderson, nothing. And it's just like Wes Anderson movies are like, you know, very visual and beautiful
There's a
and
lot
it's
of
like
thought put into them.
exactly. So it's like you would love I mean, not that it's his best movie in my opinion, but like you'd still want to see like the production design videos or like behind the scenes of that because it's just it's so whimsical every single one of his movies. I'm just glad that that was before the time when they started getting rid of bonus features that Grand Budapest Hotel had a really good extensive bonus feature stuff.
Oh,
So
really?
because at least on the original one, I know that Criterion released one later as well. But yeah, it's so beautiful to see like Wes Anderson movies behind the scenes because it's just the production design is
Yeah,
just
well,
so
everything is
whimsy.
intentional in those.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
they don't. That's everything is intentional.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but and then of course, I mean, there's like the very rare time where in Value Village I will find a Criterion movie.
Huh.
Very rare. I've only seen one ever, and it was Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
Okay.
They
Oh,
had
that
that
would have
on.
been some great,
Yeah.
like how they did the visual effects and
Yes.
all the.
There was like hours of bonus features on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some good ones there.
So Criterion, I don't really like. So they're an organization.
hmm
Do they actually record their own like commentaries and stuff? You said they bring in historians, or are they just search for them?
For the most part, a lot of the times they are Criterion will host their own director's commentaries.
So
Yes.
so they bring in like the director and they're like,
Yeah.
"Hey, Nathaniel, remember that thing
Yeah.
you did? Come in and like drink some beer and we'll like talk about the movie."
Yes, yeah, exactly
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. Because a lot of, especially the more recent Criterion ones, if the director is still alive, there'll be a sticker on it that says "Director approved" by Bong Joon Ho, David Lynch,
Oh, wow.
or something like that, and it'll have like their little signature on it. I mean, obviously, it's
Yeah, yeah.
it's not really their signature, but it's a yeah a copy. But it would be amazing if it really was. But yeah, the for the directors that are still alive, it will say director approved and like director approved bonus features, director approved restoration. So it's like the director had a hand in this specific like release as well, which is also really cool because it's like when you think of the studio release, it's like, well, they just kind of do their own thing and hopefully the director's okay with it, I guess. But
I think I actually saw a video where someone, I think it was the Lord of the Rings, where they looked at the rescans and the 4Ks
mm,
and stuff, and they're not very
yeah,
like they did some shady stuff to make their 4Ks, or
yep,
like it was like instead of rescanning the negative, they just
yeah.
did. Yeah, did you know anything about that?
I've heard about that. I did hear about the Lord of the Rings one, yeah, because the DVD one and the Blu-ray one I heard are like pretty good masters.
Yeah.
But then when they did the 4K, I've just heard it's like pretty abysmal. Same thing with James Cameron did The Abyss
Yes.
recently and Alien, and True Lies.
Right.
And apparently those are really bad.
Yeah, no, I think I heard where Alien they zoom in on people's faces and it was
Yes.
like an AI. It wasn't
Yeah.
they rescanned the master, they like AI'd it, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, so it's like I guess that's kind of the double-edged sword sometimes with physical media where it might not always be the best. But I guess again with how much like because we've gone from I mean VHS, like Laserdisc, DVD, HD DVD for a very short time, and then Blu-ray, the 4K Blu-ray. So I mean, it's not like you only have the one option. So you can, if you're really one of those people that you have to get the best version of it, you will at least will have options, and I'm sure you can find a forum that says, oh, the DVD version is the best quality, or oh, the Blu-ray is, and never get the 4K or never get the DVD. So, and I mean, there's always so many editions that come out too, like for older movies like say like Wizard of Oz, there's always like a 50th anniversary, a 70th anniversary, 75th, 80th, 85th,
87.
87th. Yeah, exactly. So or just like we'll release it for no reason at all,
Yeah.
like no anniversary, just here you
Some
go.
guy in accounting was bored and
Yeah.
thought he'd make a little money.
Exactly. It's just like let's just keep milking this movie that's been out for 90 years. So so I mean that it can be the double edge with physical media is because like going back to The Abyss, this is the first time it's been on physical media since like the early 2000s. Like there wasn't even a Blu-ray. It just went from like DVD straight to 4K.
Right.
So this was like a long time coming that we haven't seen a physical edition of The Abyss. So of course everyone was waiting for a Blu-ray edition, but then it just came out in 4K. I think you can buy a Blu-ray edition as well, but I don't know if that shadiness with the master is also on the Blu-ray. I don't know. I only have like the DVD version. So, but yeah, there is times that they can definitely mess with it, and a lot of people say don't get the 4K. Like Blu-ray is probably like as far as you really need to go.
Well, and so I'm gonna embarrass myself here. You can buy 4K discs.
Yeah,
How does
it's
explain? Huh?
I know it's a little bit confusing. I guess they just have like somehow they have more space on them.
Right.
They're bigger or whatever. But like I feel like the jump between Blu-ray and 4K. I mean, obviously there's gonna be somebody out there that's gonna like that's into all this data and stuff that's gonna totally prove me wrong. But I don't know if there's like a humongous difference between Blu-ray and 4K Blu-ray
Yeah.
because it's already like quite good. Like obviously there's a humongous difference between DVD and Blu-ray.
Yes.
Because that's probably like the difference from like VHS to DVD, where it's like VHS is like you watch it now and it's just ugh.
Yeah. No, it's something else.
It's pretty rough. But obviously when we were kids in VHS, it's like, oh, this is the best movies are ever gonna be. This is the best TV's ever gonna be.
Well, okay. So now though I've heard, and I don't know if this is only for video games, but I've heard that old video games on Nintendo and things, they were actually designed for CRT.
Right.
And I kind of wonder if VHS is the same, where if you
Mm.
were to watch it on a CRT TV, it would look the way it was supposed to be, like, I don't know, smoothing or
Right.
something.
Like it's not meant to be like yeah, it's not meant to be like in HD
Yeah.
or something. Because that's the other thing that like I was watching a video where it's like that's again another double-edged sword of restoring movies is like when it's older movies like before digital cameras were a thing and we restore them into 4K. And I'm thinking like I don't like it's nice and it looks nice, it's I guess, but I'm like, is that really what like the filmmaker would have intended back in the day? And then it also really shows, especially if it's a visual effects heavy movie, like if it was practical effects or something like that, then it's like the seams will show a
Yeah.
heck of a lot more if it's like a movie from like the 1940s and it gets a 4K release, you know, something that's shot on film and like film was around for another 50, 60 years. And like they had no idea what like even like even like 240p was. So it's like that's the I guess the other double-edged sword sometimes is like maybe it's not always best to get these old movies in the highest quality possible because you'll definitely see the seams, especially in visual effects heavy movies or movies with a lot of matte paintings, like because that was done like all the flipping time.
And that was also I mean, they knew what they were going for in the detail
Exactly.
of that. So.
Yeah. Because back in the day, they're just like, oh, it's on film. Nobody will see that. Like, they'll just think it's a real location. But it's
Yeah.
like, you look at it now, it's like, it's pretty obvious a lot of the time it's a matte painting
Yeah.
or something like that. So, or like very, very early, like 3D animation as well. It's just like when you look at it with like an older, like, not as high quality definition, it's like, yeah, you can kind of forgive it and looks fine. But then when it's in 4K, it's like, ooh, that's
Yeah. It's like a bad PlayStation game.
yeah, exactly. So it's a little bit of a toss up sometimes. But I think, yeah, as I said, with just the amount of releases that each movie has gotten, like especially the more famous ones, like there's countless versions of like Jurassic Park, Star Wars, and I mean, well, we can always go back into how George Lucas has turned on Star Wars with all the releases he's done. But yeah, I think with forums and stuff, you can always find whichever is the best version. If you're one of those people that cares, I guess. If you just want to own the movie and have it, anything is probably fine.
Yeah.
But if you're wanting the best version out there, then I mean, it will still be there, but you just have to look it up, I guess.
Yeah. Now, I think the only other example I have of that is I remember seeing an example where they converted Buffy to widescreen, and there's a whole bunch of shots where there's crew and stuff, like
Yeah.
the edges of sets.
Oh, that's
There's like
right.
zero quality control on that one.
Oh, that's right. And it was like that for what is it? The Disney Plus did for The Simpsons as well, because it was in that original square, and then they just zoomed it in, and then that like
cut a lot at the bottom.
Yeah, so it cut a lot of like good jokes out because there was like some visual jokes where it was like on the top or the bottom, and then they're just out now. But apparently, because of the the controversy from that with all the fans and stuff, they Disney made the option that you can revert it at least. So,
Yeah.
but the Buffy thing, that's pretty funny.
Yeah. So, all right, we've talked the physical media. That's great. But now, what's next for your channel? Because I know like you got like 39,000 views on that one. But
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was pretty pleased with that one. I mean, it's not Game Busters, but at least for like a smaller channel, it's pretty okay in the YouTube scheme of things. But I would love to talk about. I mean, there's so many things that I want to talk about, but I would love to talk about movie theaters and like where they are these days. I mean, of course, we still have movies that are doing incredibly well in the box office, but then there's other movies that don't do really well that should have done well, like what is it, not Mad Max, but Furiosa. Like that did poorly in the box office, but that should have been like a movie that, I mean, not necessarily would have got $1 billion, but it should have made more than its money back and then some, considering how well received Fury Road was.
I so okay, people watching from Vancouver, the Rio.
Mm,
I don't like normal theaters anymore.
yeah.
Like
That's the
unless I'm
thing.
going to go see Transformers and D-Box with the moving chairs and all the
Yeah.
bells and whistles, like
Yeah.
the popcorn isn't as good. How
Yeah.
does the Rio have better popcorn? It's a tiny little,
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
it's I can get alcohol. I'm not a raging alcoholic, but like to go
It's
and
nice to have.
sometimes, especially like you go to the movies to unwind or get away from life.
Mhm.
Well, life is a lot harder to get away from now. A couple drinks or a grilled cheese sandwich.
Yep.
We've lost the light. All right, well there we go.
There we go.
But yeah, like I find like the movie theater experience and it just keeps getting more and more. Like it used to be cheap to get in now, and then the food was expensive. Now it's expensive to get in and the food's expensive.
Exactly. I know that's the tricky thing where it's just like, because so many movies ever since COVID, it's been like movies, like it's pretty rare that movies have done incredibly well. There's those few that have done really well, like ones I can name is like Top Gun Maverick, Spider-Man No Way Home, and and for some reason Inside Out 2 did incredibly well. It's the biggest movie of the year. It got like $1.6 billion. So which is like pre-COVID money in terms of how well a movie did. So it's like, and also Deadpool Wolverine did really well as well.
But all of those are movies that like count on nostalgia.
That's the thing.
Like I loved Maverick and I watched Top Gun as a kid with my parents,
Mhm.
I love Deadpool. I'm dressing up as him for Halloween.
Yes, right.
Like, of course I'm going to go see that. But like a lot of these other ones, like, I mean, even look at the Joker, which was advertised. I was surprised to hear it was a musical after watching the ads for it.
Yep.
And I think that's one where it's like, maybe it would have done better if people had been told it was a musical from the beginning. Because like in my head, I was like, I'm going to go see the Joker too. It's good. I'm like, now it's a musical. I got to reframe myself before I want to go.
Exactly. Because it seems like with Joker, like I haven't seen it yet, but it sounds like most of the criticism is the fact that people were surprised it was a musical and weren't expecting it. So.
And it's not totally out of left field because it's got Lady Gaga on it.
Yeah.
So like, if you get Lady Gaga on your project, then you're going to want to use that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But yeah, it's a weird thing. And yeah, it's, but yeah, I wanted to talk about that because I think like movie theaters have been like kind of rough even before COVID, but especially since COVID.
Mhm.
But I think even beforehand, just, with expensive seating and like, it's been really, I don't even remember the last time where I went into like a fully sold out theater. I think the last time might have been like Avengers Endgame, but that was because it was Endgame.
Yeah.
So, which makes sense. But since then, I don't think I've ever been in a sold out theater, as far as I'm aware. So, at least for a major release, of course, for like independent things, like another Vancouver thing, like what is it? Wow, why am I not thinking of it? Not Frantic 48. What's it called? Gosh.
Run and Gun?
Run and Gun.
Oh yeah,
That's
well
it.
yeah, but those are other things too.
Those
They
are
have
other
like
things,
extra,
yeah.
like, and a quick shout out, Badass Film Fest. My buddy David, definitely go see the
Yes.
Badass Film Fest because like those are things too where you're going for an event, and
That's the
I almost
difference, yeah.
think that's actually probably more attractive to people now.
Mhm.
Like going out so much more expensive that I kind
Yeah.
of want more than to just go see a movie.
Totally.
Because I can just have some friends over with our nice big screen TV and
Yeah.
watch it, and then pause it if we all need to pee or
Yeah.
like go to the liquor store or
Yeah.
it's
Exactly. And like, And I think the other reason why theaters are not doing as incredibly well, I mean, I'll do this whenever I make the film essay, but it's like with streaming services as well, because like if a movie doesn't do well in the theater, it goes to streaming like immediately.
Yeah, no, you can get it in like a week.
Exactly. And like, so because studios couldn't do that before. Before it was like, well, if a movie's not doing any well, sucks to suck. It's going to be in theaters for like 5 months. And then it won't reach rental or video stores for like another 6, 7 months after that.
Yeah, no, waiting a year is definitely a really hard sell to
Yeah.
go watch it. Waiting a week is like, I'm busy.
Exactly. Because it's like, I mean, not that I've seen it, but I know it did really horribly well. But Borderlands, because I think that was in theaters for like 2 to 3 weeks, and then they pulled the plug, went on streaming, and so and that because I think in a lot, especially since COVID, I think a lot of people's mindset is like, oh, I don't think that's a theater movie. I'll wait until it's on streaming. I can just watch it at home. So
Yeah,
and
my roommate said that last night because I was
Yeah.
like, hey, you want to go see the Transformers 1 movie? He's
Yeah.
like, nah, it's not a movie.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, and then you just have to wait. Like, even when a movie does well in theaters, like it's probably on streaming within 2 months of release, typically, maybe 2 to 3 months. But that's still not a long time considering what, yeah, we had to wait for originally for a movie to get on rental or DVD or whatever. Like, it was the better part of a year after.
Life would be vastly different by then.
Yes, absolutely, exactly. Like you have a lot of time to think. Did I really like that movie, or do I really want to watch that movie? So, but yeah, so I that's like some of the stuff I want to talk about in that. But there's many different videos I want to talk about. I also want to talk about I mean, not that it's film, but I want to talk about the current state of The Simpsons, because I'm a huge fan of The Simpsons, at least from like the original season 1 to 9, and I've been trying to watch everything. It's like season 36 right now.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which is just bonkers. And so, and obviously the quality's dipped quite a fair margin. So I definitely want to talk about that and talk about like just where it's at now.
Well, I remember when The Simpsons came out, it was a lot more edgy, and it's the same jokes, but edgy has moved. The edge has moved a lot.
Yeah. And a lot of jokes I find very like predictable. And it's like, I don't know if that's really a fault of like the writers, but I think it's just like they just put themselves into a corner because it's just been around for so long. And it's like, oh, what hijinks can Homer get into this week? Or what prank is Bart going to pull on Principal Skinner for the like 600th time throughout this show?
Well, in 36 years, Bart, like if it was a real like moving forward time, they would be on Bart's kids now.
Yes.
Or even grandchildren.
Exactly. Because I think Marge and Homer is supposed to be like very early 30s when the show started. So they would be in their like mid to late 60s now, and Bart would be 40.
Yeah.
And Lisa would be around that. And yeah, so it's,
I almost wonder if that would be more like maybe they should do that.
I know. I'm curious to see. I think I'm most curious to see whenever that show ends and how they do it. But it's probably going to be one of those things where it's like it's not going to be until like a voice actor dies or something that it'll end.
But that's getting.
It's getting up there.
Yeah.
So I think I think Julie Kavner is like the oldest. I think.
But then they just throw money at her and her estate and be like, just will us the voice. We will keep your family rich.
Exactly.
Forever.
Like what's his face? James Earl Jones. Now he's going to be AI Darth Vader till the end of time.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I know. But those are just like a couple of ideas. I also just want to talk about my I love Letterboxd. Do you have a Letterboxd?
Maybe that sounds familiar, but my brain is like one beer in now, and I'm
no. That's fair. It's like a app where you can like review movies and like catalog every single movie you've like ever seen.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, I've seen that.
Okay.
I have never started my own account up because I'm lazy.
That's fair. I mean, once you're in though, it's just like I'm way too in on it. So which it's like my watch list is far too big now. But I love it. It's probably the social media that I use the most.
Interesting.
So just to see people's reviews, see people's tastes and stuff like that. But I want to talk about why I don't rate movies. Like I don't rate them a certain number because I just find, I don't know, that to be like a weird way to review art, I guess, or like movies, because it's just a very,
I guess too, because it's like this is a 5 out of 10 sad movie, but a 9 out of 10 action movie.
Exactly. And it's like it can also just depend on like how you're feeling that day. Like if somebody wants to ask me, it's like, oh, what did you think of that movie? I'll be like, oh, well, right now I rate it maybe a 6 out of 10, but like 5 years from now, if I rewatch it, I might be like 10 out of 10 or 1 out of 10. I don't know. So it's I don't really review or I don't rate movies. I'll do my silly little blurb and review on it, but I won't rate it out of five. Yeah, it's out of 5 stars, and you can do half stars and stuff like that. But I'd like to talk about that. But there's so many small ideas that I have that I'd like to keep going, but it takes me a long time to make them.
Yeah, now that's actually one final question I have for you. I don't know where we're at for time, but let me check here. Oh yeah, okay. I guess the question is like, how do you edit these damn things?
So the physical media one that took me so flippin' long because I actually made the channel back in like during COVID 2020, and with the intention of making the physical media video, and I wrote it all out for the most part, and then I recorded the audio, and then I was taking forever to edit it. And so long that and like the video literally came out I think May of this year, so like 4 years time. But basically, it was just like trying to find any random clip that I think would just somehow be funny. Like, because I'm just have a mind of encyclopedia of movies and TV. So I'm just like trying to rewatch that 5 seconds or listen to that same 5 seconds over and over and being like, what's something funny or something I can just put here that works, whether it's a Simpsons clip, whether it's something from like, I don't know, Casablanca, something from Lord of the Rings, whatever. But overall, though, I'm really glad that it took so long because I probably re-recorded the audio like 3 or 4 times in that span because more and more things were happening in the world of physical media in that time from for COVID to now. The biggest thing, for example, is like Best Buy isn't doing physical media anymore, or they're wanting to phase it out. So 4 years ago, if I made that video then that wouldn't have happened yet.
And it's
So,
quite a bit more of like a statement when you're like that. Is
yeah.
like, by the way, because that's like all of the DVDs I bought were at the Best Buy bargain bin.
Totally. And like they used to have a humongous section. Like they used to have like 5 shelves deep of just like movies. At least back in my hometown in Grand Prairie, that Best Buy had just a huge section of DVDs, and then it went to like maybe one shelf to like a kiosk bargain bin, and then now it's just nothing. You could still buy some things on their online store, but I think they're slowly phasing it out. And then just the other day, I was at Lennon Drugs, and they're having a 50% off sale on every physical media. So they're probably starting to phase that out as well. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question and how I edit the damn thing, but
Okay. Final technical question
Yeah.
because I'm a tech nerd. What do you use to record the
Ooh.
audio?
So I have one of those classic Zoom H4Ns.
Nice.
And
classic filmmaker gear.
It's classic filmmaker gear, so cheap and so run and gunny. But and then I just plug in Rode NTG3 into it.
That's what I use for Boom.
Yeah, it's a great mic, great indie mic. And then I just have like a C stand and put like one of those Boom attachments to it, and then that's how I record the audio.
That's awesome.
It's pretty simple. Thank you. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining me, Nathaniel. Thanks again for joining us on Between Two Pints. Also, you need to tell them the YouTube channel. We'll put a link to it in all of the things, but yeah.
It is called the Canadian Expressionist. It's supposed to be to play on like German expressionism, and the channel art, which was made by a good friend of mine, was like sort of be a fun on Metropolis, which was a German expressionism movie from the 1920s by Fritz Lang. So, but yeah, I just love movies and love to talk about them.
All right, man. Well, cheers. I love beer and talking about movies.
Beer and talking about movies. Let's go.